Wondering how to turn your dreams of entrepreneurship into a reality? Take the mystery out of success, clear the fog of failures, and use speaking to create a six-figure business. Learn the success strategies of international speaker and business coach Katya Ravi. Learn business from brave to rave.
Bonjour, 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 bonjour. Wow. The Super Bowl and many other things happened since the last time I've talked with you guys, whether it's whether you follow sports or not. There's so many things then we need to be aware in our daily lives. That way we can talk about it with our clients or talk about it when we meet in networking events or talk about it just in the world and being just having the informations of what's happening. So watch, like many of you, I watched the Super Bowl last night, and many things happened with this Super Bowl in a matter of feeling. So I was going for Kansas City, not really more for being for the team, but I really liked some of the interview of the young quarterback. And I just think then, when you are 24 and you're that focused and that wanting to do well, and not just as an individual, but as a team, and having so much respect for the coach, just really spoke to me. So really that's how I chose that's how I chose the team. My favorite player was Peyton Manning. I was a fan of Dungy when he was the coach, and of course was coaching Manning. And then when Manning, changed team, I continued with him until he retired. And since then, I haven't really had per se a team. So last night, I was watching the game, and it was a beautiful game. And whether you are from one side or the other side, I think being able to appreciate the beauty of sports is sometimes a gift that we don't really use. And I was really proud then to be, in a household where we both, Steve and I, were able to appreciate how beautiful both of the teams were playing. And Chloe, my youngest daughter, was with us, and honestly, the whole day could have gone bad, right? We have this tradition. I really don't eat much candy. The house never really have much candy. And it's been a tradition. Then I was like, I totally embraced it. Oh my gosh. Like, I want to say it was 15, 16, 17 even, years ago. And yes, at least. And I started, just had one kid then, and we don't eat in front of the TV. We don't, eat much junk food. And so I was like, this is the one day where we can eat in front of the TV. I will make homemade buffalo wings. I will make homemade fries, and then we'll go and buy a candy, and we'll have soda. And it had become this tradition every year. I used to take each kid by themselves, to the store, and we would buy the soda of their choice, and then they were allowed to take, and then the candies of their choice, and then I would go back with the second child, and then go back with the third child, and even now, then we have only one at home. I was still, I still wanted to do it, and we still cooked, and we had fun in the kitchen, and made cookies, but one of the things that I didn't plan on happening is, so we don't have TV, we don't have cable, we don't have satellite, or however you want to call it. We don't have that. And usually, the game comes on NBC or ABC, or, well, this year was on Fox. And downstairs in our living room, in our TV room, we have a TV downstairs. We have one in the kitchen, but it was really more for listening to TED Talk, and it's plugged to our phones. And I cannot remember the last time the TV was on, to be honest. So here we are. And then, about 2 o'clock, I told Steve, I said, hey, like, what channel is this on? So we look it up. And of course, we don't have any connection downstairs. And no matter how many times we have this little antenna. No matter how hard we tried to move the antenna, which it reminded me of many years ago when I was putting foil on the antenna and trying to move it and stop, and holding it. And so it brought back actually really, really cool memories for me. But nevertheless, we couldn't watch it downstairs. We had, barely any connection. However, it came upstairs pretty decent. It wasn't great, but pretty decent. But I mean, the whole point is to eat on the floor, on the carpet, in front of the TV. So I was like, how are we going to do that? And this is when sometime we can really, for me, the traditions are big, and I like to keep them. And, Steve had an amazing idea, which at first I was like, no, it's not going to be the same thing. But it was better than nothing. And actually, it was better than what we had. He actually he moved our kitchen table out of the kitchen, brought in the couch from the living room, and then we brought in a big chair that way the three of us could sit, and brought the food. And I think this is really, really, I'm getting there into the relationship in business here. Are you doing everything you can to make things work no matter what? And yesterday was actually a perfect example of that. It is not what we had planned. What we had planned was not going to work. So do you try to come up with a plan B, even if plan B didn't even exist at the beginning? And that was really a highlight for me. It was a highlight of, wow, no matter what we want, if we really put our thoughts into it, our minds into it, we are able to do these kind of things. And that's, for me, that was really a huge, I don't know how to say it. It was a huge relief to see that we can come up with things like that. We can do this kind of thing. We can have fun. We can manage to come up at the last minute with something then who was not planned, and that totally lifted me up. And just wanted to share that. And not only that, I think the fact then. The game was so beautiful, and let's talk about the halftime. I don't really put my opinion on many things online, whether it's on social media. I mean, you guys know on social media I'm very much about my work and my idea of how to run business. But beside that, you won't see too much of my opinion on really, honestly, anything. And that was kind of a big thing. I loved the half show. Absolutely loved the half show. Let me tell you why. I felt like women were celebrated. I felt like not only women were celebrated, but how can I say that? The fact that it was two women from a different culture, yes, Americans, but definitely Latinas, and the fact then they were together showed I don't know, like they worked together. It wasn't, well, they could be enemies, and were not very like-minded, and they were so unified when they came on the show. And that was so wonderful for me to see. I loved it. And then I went online and I saw then people were criticizing, and I'm like, well, you know what? I mean, come on. If you have a body like they do, why wouldn't they show it? They're working hard for it. Now, did I feel like they were disrespectful? No more than other people are. No more than I don't know, like, I didn't think it was disrespectful. I felt like it was beautiful. It was women in all of their beauty, older women. I was just like, come on, like if I could do that, oh my goodness, that was really empowering. And that's a big thing. I really didn't like how all this criticism came in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't we have anything better than to just admire a show where women were put on it was a women's Super Bowl. And I loved then they gave a shout out to the first woman who's a coach. Now, I would have loved that at the beginning of the game, probably more, for her to be highlighted and to have this shout out. But, in the big scheme of thing, it was just saying like, wow, you know what, women, you're really changing the world. Here we have a first woman coach, as not, yeah, I know she wasn't the head coach and all of that, but my gosh, how far have we come to be a coach into a men's world? Number one. And second, just to see a halftime show who was, I'm sorry, one of the best halftime show I have seen in a long time. And it's, and yes, there were women. And I think so many people are just not happy about this. But I'm like, come on. This was just gorgeous. So that was that on the Super Bowl. The other thing that I want to talk about, say, I am leaving. Actually, I'm leaving in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick to fly to the Bahamas. And I know you guys know by now, then I have a group coming out. I have a couple of things who are launching. A group coming out on launching this new service where I'm going to be teaching 12 people at a time how to write their signature talk, how to pitch themselves, really understand who's their avatar, what pain point do they fix. And so that's really a big deal. And then the trip in itself is actually going to the Bahamas to write the book. I am very excited. I am going to meet with super smart people. It's going to be a very intense week. I will be gone actually 7 days. I haven't been gone 7 days in a very long time. And I am nervous, happy, excited. And yesterday, something kind of came up. I was like, what am I really nervous? And there's a lot of things that we don't talk about, especially I think in the coaching world. So you guys see me as a leader. You guys see me as, someone who obviously is a podcast host, someone who's getting a lot of buzz. Obviously, I'm traveling a lot. I'm getting so many keynote speaking. My business is definitely thriving. I have clients, so many clients, and now I have a group. So you guys see all of the fun, cool, exciting, amazing things about me. What you don't see, though, and I think we need to talk about a little bit more, it's sometimes how much toll it takes and how much of a lonely world this can be. And I hesitated to talk about this on the podcast. However, I actually want to talk about it big time. I want to talk about it because it's lonely. Why? Because, well, for me, I am lucky enough that my partner is an amazing support and understand the coaching world, the consulting world. So I feel actually then I have some advantage over some other people who maybe just have, her husband working in a regular company. For me, this is a tool, but it is scary. I know that this week is going to be very intense. I'm going to be working with different coaches. I'm going to be obviously, challenged. This is a week of growth. This is a week of challenge. You guys hear me. I speak very well. I mean, you guys understand. Yes, I have the accent, but writing for me is a challenge. Now I write beautifully in my language. I write beautifully in French. Um, and I can write beautifully in English. However, I don't have the proper grammar, the proper vocabulary, the proper words to say. The little mistake that I make when I speak is are. That was actually a perfect example. Is charming versus are charming, and those kind of mistakes. You guys are embracing it when I speak. Yeah, you guys are maybe charmed by the accent. I don't know if charm is the word, but however, on a book, nobody knows you and you don't have that luxury. So of course, I have the stress for me then not only of what everybody is going to be feeling. I'm going to be with people in a group, at this retreat. I feel their challenge is really to come up with the content of the book, which it's the same for me. However, I feel like I have a handicap over them. It's on top of that, I have another challenge. I have the challenge of the vocabulary, the grammar, the proper, the oh my gosh, is it going to be good enough? And then of course, because high standard for me are very important, and it is the first step to very high achievement. Of course, I want this book to be like wow. And one of my coach the other day told me, he said, Katya, you need to enjoy the ride and understand that this book will not probably be your beautiful piece of art, like if and he was telling me, it's like if I go back to my first book, reading it now, it's like oof, there's some work. But I think this is it, and this is the part where sometimes we want perfection from the beginning, and it was really good for me to hear that. It was good to hear then, hey, I have this challenge. I'm going to do the best I can. This book is definitely obviously going to be me. It's going to have my voice. It's going to definitely going to be on what I talk pretty much all the time. But I know now then I'm not putting as much pressure as what I was putting myself under just even couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that we need to talk about, it's growth in our business. How do we handle it? Growth in your business can come sometimes super fast. You do all these things, you put everything in motion, and then growth happens. It just comes so fast, and you are ready. Everything is in place. You have your system. But are you really ready emotionally? Are you ready for everything who comes in with the growth, with more traveling, with more things, who are you talking to? And I think this is it. This is a big part of who are you surrounding yourself to? I mean, for me, I have friends, but I realized then my friends are really becoming, people who are like-minded, because I need a place to be able to vent. I need a place to be able to share. I need a place where I'm able to say, hey, I need some positive people, around me. Like I said, lucky for me, my partner is that. I mean, I woke up this morning and I could have not woken up. I definitely lost some sleep over I woke up in the middle of the night, and of course, worrying about the flights and am I going to make it on time? And, how can I make this trip, the most that I can get out of? And, how can I be most prepared emotionally, in my mind, in my soul? Am I ready to receive all the feedback am I going to get? Am I in a good place? And, so I was up for a couple of hours thinking of all that. And then, he woke up, right next to me, and it just flew. The flow of love and kindness, and how much he loves me, and how much he believes in me, and how much he knows I'm going to be great and fantastic. There's no price to that, because really at the end of the day, this is kind of what sustains us. It's when we have someone who believes in us, even at the times where we don't believe in ourselves as much. And that happens to me. I know you guys don't see that part of me much, but this is, something that we need to talk about, because I don't see it happening much for other people. So therefore, I think I'm by myself. I'm thinking I'm the only one, and we are not. And last week, one of my friend is posted on social media. Then he wants the support of everybody because he's going through a challenging growing time with mastermind, and I thought it was so beautiful. Then he put that online. He was like, I ask people for kindness. I ask people to cut me some slack. I ask you to keep me in mind. And I was just like, wow, how beautiful. And there's not enough people, I think, doing that out there very much. So we are humans, and with all of that, guys, I leave you today, and I hope then you have an amazing week. And please follow us on social media, Katia Rave on Instagram, and Rave Strategy Studio on Facebook. And please subscribe to the podcast, leave some review. And I look forward to talk to you guys next week. Au revoir, au revoir, au revoir.